We're almost to the end now. We go quickly on this one. We come to somewhere around 6,000 years ago. There was some kind of problem down in this system. If you come from hell and you make a line coming straight down, you divide one island called Crete or Creta. It divides in half. And 6,000 years ago, there were two kings living on this island. One was the king of the Greek system, the Persian system. The other king was the king of this Roman system. Two different mythologies. Zeus and Pan, and Jupiter and Bacchus. Two different, the Greek mythology, the Roman mythology. And this line divides Creta right in half. So if you go to Creta, you'll see on the east side is the old Greek mythology, and on the west side of Creta is the Roman mythology. And these, some kind of problems. So they sent one man down, one of these more than 12 sons. He's called Per Udens Ra. And they send him to Egypt. And he's called the Pharaoh. So this first Pharaoh, he's one Finnish man with yellow hair, blue eyes. And he brings something called pyramid. Pyramidi. It's one word that comes from Finland. It doesn't come from Egypt. A P, a Ra, a mid. I went through it earlier. To build one pyramid, you build one spiral. In English, we say spiral, but in spira, spiral, pira, pira, spira. So if you build one spiral, you can take the stones up and drop them to the last stone and then take the whole story down. So this Pharaoh, this first Pharaoh, and he comes down and he goes on one ego trip, and calls himself Ra, the Sun King. Whereas Ra is the moon. Ra is not the sun. In the alphabet, it goes R-S-T-U, what we say R-S-T-U. Ra, the moon, and Sul, the sun, are tour friends. Te means tour. So the moon gets its light from the sun, so it makes the best friend of the moon the sun. So this Ra, he's really the moon. He's not the sun at all. We go to about 3,800 years ago. We have another one of these article guys coming out from hell, from this Pirouette family. And he's called Krishna. And he goes with one woman called Radha. And they take one of these domestic animals that they had created in this ice time. When Brahma cow. Bra means good. Man means man. So when Brahman means one good man. And the cow is called Brahma. And he brings this cow to a place called Hindustan, to a place called Rajasthan, to a place called Pushkar, and there is sitting one king of Hindustan. The king is called Narkasur. His sons are called Maharaja. Their sons are called Rajas, which are the Rabbis. And the middle class is called Kar, Pushkar, Gokarna, Kar, Shankar, and this last is called Gati. The Gati, the Kar, the Raja, the Maharaja, and Narkasur. And this Krishna, he comes and he takes over this system. He's one article guy with blue eyes, white skin, and he creates something called one marriage system. Where now these girls are not having the dream, they're not choosing up and choosing up. Now one woman from the same caste has to marry, and you stay your whole life with one woman. This was not how it was before. The women we didn't have marriage before. Before, a woman made a child many times in her life, but she chose a different man for every child. She never used the same man to make her children. She may make children, 20 children, but she would have 20 different fathers. She would choose 20 different men. But this Krishna, he created one system where now one man and one woman could be happy together for all their life. One couple system, I call it. And now these lower people couldn't choose up. And the middle couldn't choose up. And they couldn't choose up. So now the whole breeding system fell apart. That's why we have all these little small people in India. Very nice people, but very small. And this Krishna, he wrote down one book, one future story. And he brought one language called Sanskrit, one language, one written language. They has been speaking Hindi for millions of years. And now he creates one new written language. He sets up some kind of priest class with the Brahmins at the top. And the chaos starts to be happening. India starts falling in pieces, or what we call Hindustan. These Raja people had been the Rabbis. They had been the breeders of Hindustan. But with this Krishna starting this marriage system, they had no job anymore. They lost their job, and they didn't know what to do, these Rajas from Rajasthan. So they left Rajasthan. And via the car people in the Van class, they went by caravan. And they moved to Egypt. And they get to Egypt and they ask this Farah, he says, look, there's one white guy, one Krishna flipping out over here, and we can't stay and make our children's system anymore. Can we stay here in the Egypt? And the Farah says, yes, you can stay here, but you can't. You have to keep your race of people there, or don't mix with our race. So these people, they stay in Egypt for quite some time. And then one day they want to go to the Holy Land. So they ask for help from hell. Since hell was the Holy Land, it was the land at the top of the E where the hole is, and the land is Udanma, the land around the hole in the E. And down come one of these Moors, not these 7 sisters, but one of the more than 7 sisters from the highest family on the planet, the Pirouette family. And she was called Moor Say. Moor means mother, Say means say. She's the Moor Say. Moses was a woman. And she brings one book, the first black letter on white paper. One future story about one time when one man will come along and bring the knowledge about how we can be at peace with each other again. And this book is called Torah. Ra is the king, and Torah is his story down here, so it means the prick of the king, the Torah. And this Torah had one introduction of one God, one male God. Whereas in the mythology before, the woman, she has her goddesses. In the religion, there's only one male God. But in all the mythologies, for every male, you have one female. So the women, they had female deities that they could be as example. And the men, we had men